right off the school bus, literally, wouldn't have much of a chance going into his very first camp. But what have you thought?
A very competitive, big man. Saw that with a battle with Smith the other day in a one-on-one drill. So got lots of intensity, good work ethic. It's around the ice decent for a big guy. Got to smooth out his puck skills at this level, be able to make plays against pressure. I think we knew that there's always a bit of a transition, especially for defensemen coming from junior or college. So so far, so good. Like I said, I think he's excited to be here. He wants to be a professional player. He's ready to go every day. So we just got to smooth out the rough edges and see where it leads us.
And second one was Tuukka. Given the unique circumstances that he left the bubble, I would assume between then and now you've had a chance to sit down with him and talk. I'm just curious where you think his head is. Any leftover effects of the bubble.
Yeah, I think his head's been good, Kevin, since he got back and took care of his family, to be honest with you. I mean, I talked to him shortly after that, during the summer, again before camp. And we're not going to go back in time, every time we discuss things, and just sort of, hey, like, when the schedule comes out, like, anticipating which games you're going to play, that'll be next on the agenda. But he feels good, practicing well. Has been here for an extended period of time now, working out here at the facility. So obviously he's ready to go in that regard. And like I said, to my understanding, everything's great at home with his wife and his girls. So that's most important, and usually puts you in a good place to go work, whatever your career is. So that's the way I see it with Tuukka. I think, we're going to need good goaltending. We've talked about a little bit of the change on defense, where we're going to give some younger players an opportunity. So typically when that happens, you need goaltending to help you out. When you go through your hiccups early on, you need good team structure. We have that. We got good centermen to help down low. We have that. Hopefully we pair these guys up with good partners that have been in the league. And like I said, the goaltending, can help in a lot of areas that way. So I anticipate nothing but, good play from Tuukka. But I guess we'll find out next week when we get to New Jersey.
And with 56 games, you're more inclined to go with sort of the formula you had before, which was, roughly, say, 2/3, 1/3, or is this more 50-50 this year?
I don't think it'll be 50-50. Obviously, it's always, play driven. We have a script at the start of the year. And now that we got the times finalized, Bob and I will go through that. See where Yaro's at. He wasn't here as long, so we want to see where his fitness level is after, maybe the scrimmages this week and early next week, and then chart out a course. We know the back-to-backs. We got two good goaltenders, so they'll split those. Who gets the front end and the back end is, we'll decide that. But and after that, I think Tuukka was around 60% of 82. We were gunning for, that's roughly 49-50. I thought that was a good number for us. Low 50s, so anywhere that 60 to low 60%. So with 52 games, that's probably somewhere around 30 games for him if we stick to that. 56 games would be 30, about 33, 34 games. And I don't see any issue with that at all. But again, that'll depend on him and a little bit of the spacing between games. The good news is, Kevin, there's not a lot of travel. So that can help a goaltender recover. So that, might edge his games up. But that's our original plan. We're not going to deviate too much from that number percentage-wise, whether it's 56 or 82, and then go from there. Again, we could get into the middle of March, not be where we want to be, and need more starts from one of the two goalies. So we'll adjust accordingly, but that's the original plan.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Butch.
Yeah.
We'll go next to Fluto. Go ahead, Fluto.
Bruce, Patrice's identity had been for so long the matchup, the PK, heavy on the defensive side. So what signaled to you that he could become a dominant dominant power play guy, and then the 5-on-5 offense too? Just that transition from such a defensive identity to where he is offensively now.
Well, his numbers offensively are still very good. I just think he got, maybe for a lack of a better term, branded a a defensive specialist, that face-off guy matchup. So when you start talking about a guy in those terms, you forget about his ability to put the puck in the net, make plays. And I think for me, I just have to go back to look at his World Junior numbers. I think it's from 05 maybe. And you knew he had it in him offensively. And then from there, when I took over, we just felt, because Fluto, his ability in the line we had him on was going to be an offensive line, and B, that where he was in career and where the miles he had put on him and on his body, that if we run him out there for every D zone draw and he has to play tough minutes every night for 82 nights and then hopefully another 20 some in the playoffs, that it can take its toll on you. And we felt that, or I felt that more offensive zone starts, especially with his line mates, would probably benefit the team, because he's a good offensive player, and the individual, because it saves a little wear and tear. But in order for us to have done that, as I've said before, we built a fourth line that we had to trust and play in our own end. So that's how it came together for us. But I think most people knew all along that Bergie had the offensive ability. It's just he was used in a different manner, and Kretsch took care of a lot of that offensive stuff, his line. So he became more the sort of the second line offensive guy, so to speak. And all of a sudden, there's years in Boston there where they had three offensive lines, when go back to Riders and the Wheelers and some of those guys that could score. So, I think that just happened because people said he was a good defensive player and kind of forgot about the other parts of his game.
Thanks, Fluto. We'll go next to Steve Conroy.
Last time?
Yep, gotcha.
Okay. Just some bookkeeping things, Butch. You have some guys who aren't here. Lead, I believe, Steen and Kuhlman. What's their status?
We've been instructed to say unavailable to participate. So I think with Kuhlman, you can elaborate a little bit. He got caught up in a testing issue. So we're trying to get that squared away for him. He was here ahead of time and cleared and did his quarantine. So a little bit unfortunate for him. So hopefully we'll see him back out there soon. The other two, like I said, unavailable right now. And I think Steen is going to get out get on the ice tomorrow in some capacity. He's been off quarantining as well. So, and then Bleed will be a little bit down the road. Pasta, again, not going to join us yet. He's skating on his own sort of schedule. Marshy's doing well. As we classify him as injured and has joined the group, will continue to be in the group, as directed by the medical staff. So that's, I guess, I think they're the five guys, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And when do it's such a short camp here, when do you plan to have your group of 23 or whatever you're going to have would it be Sunday or
yeah, probably Steve, Sunday or Monday. We're gonna have some scrimmages Thursday and Friday. Get a little look at guys live. We'll sit down Saturday. I mean, right now we believe that'll be the day off for the players. They need one off in camp, and then look at where everyone's at. For example, how is Brad progressing? Do we feel he'll be on time for the start of the year? No matter what, he's going to get that opportunity, but that might affect some other decisions. We know Pasta is not going to be there. So, who has the best opportunity to play, in that spot. So those are some of the decisions you make. How are guys progressing this week? How did they do in the scrimmages? Because that's the evaluator for us a little bit, the scrimmages, right? We don't have exhibitions, so they're just taking the place of exhibition games. And, have some of these young guys pushed up? And if so, keep them in the main group, because we've got a lot of capable players, lots of depth, but we can't practice with 6 lines with one group and, sort of 1.5 with the other. That won't make any sense. So if we pare down, we're going to have to make some tough decisions. And that's why these guys that are missing time now, it's unfortunate for them. But that's kind of the hand we're dealt this year with a short camp. So I would suspect Sunday we would start getting to work that would look more like the Bruins, and then sort of the second group would look more like potential taxi squad, Providence, however that plays out down the road, et cetera.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll go next to Joe Haggerty, and then we'll wrap up with Connor Ryan. Go ahead, Joe.
Hey, Butchie, I just got to have a couple questions here. First, nuts and bolts with Pasternak. And obviously you've said he's probably not going to be ready or isn't going to be ready to start the season. Is there a target date or a timetable or an expectation that he may be back by, a few weeks in, a month in? Is there any long range target you kind of have an idea on at this point?
Yeah, well, the original prognosis was mid-February. So we feel he's a little bit ahead of that. How much? We've got still a ways to go let's get through January and then, see where he's at. So I don't like to speculate in the medical part. I'm just repeating what I hear from our guys. It was originally mid-February coming out of the surgery. Up to this point, which is approximately 4 months now, his rehab has gone very well, no setbacks. And I think because of his natural conditioning, work ethic, that pushes him ahead a little bit. How much? It's too early, Hags, for me to speculate. I just know he won't be ready when we head to New Jersey. So, like I said, after that, a little bit ahead of mid-February. Could that be February 1st, February 4th? I don't know down there. I guess getting back from the road trip and having him in our lineup doing regular practice is always the best indicator for me. And he's not there yet, so I don't want to guess.
Okay. And as far as Trent Frederick goes, just what kind of expectations, role, what do you see as his potential role in the NHL club if he makes it?
Well, it's tough for these guys coming in, and I put Jack Studnicka in that to crack our lineup in the middle of the ice, right? If you go through, Berge, Kretsch, Coyle, Corrali, we feel great about our center iceman. Now, could Corrali bump over and play the wing if we want to make room for, say, a Frederick on the fourth line centerman? Absolutely. We've moved Coyle over to the wing, more out of necessity over the years, but we like him exactly where he is, anchoring the third line, and especially with the addition of Smith. You got Kasha, and when Pasternak's healthy, then you don't need that right winger. Now with Pasta out, it's always in the cards that he could slide, and that opens up a spot for a center iceman. But we like him better in the middle. So it looks like those two guys have to earn their spots on the wing, so they're competing with wingers to get in the lineup. So that's why we've put him on the wing to start training camp. He'll see some time in the middle eventually. I mean, he's a good face-off guy, but he can still take draws as a winger. For example, if he played with Corrali, he could still go in and take some draws if Sean was having an off night and they could switch back. We've done that with lots of players. So I envision him being, if he can get to the net, get to the inside ice, get his opportunities, give us some physical hockey when it's there, not chase it, but just be hard to play against, then he could help our team. We've talked about that all along. We're trying to get bigger in those areas. That's where we want Nick Ritchie to find his game, get to the top of his game, because he can add those elements. So we're certainly looking for guys like that. Craig Smith, watched him. He looks like a straight line player. They'll get inside, shoot the puck. So it appears we've added an element, of that as well. So we've identified that we want to get better in those areas. He's just got to outplay people because, there's depth on the wings. You got a Bjork, Kasha healthy now that, we want to be a good player and hope can be a good player, expect to be a good player. DeBrus just re-signed. Hopefully that puts him in a good place to go out there and be the player he can be. Marshy looks like he's going to be healthy. So there's a lot of competition up and down that left side as well. So, but again, we're going to give Freddie an opportunity if he creates it for himself. And I think Hags, to this point, it's only 2 days in. He looks better, more comfortable than he has here in the past. And some of that's hanging on to the puck. Some of that's probably being in the league 2 years, being a pro for 2 years and being up here a little bit, joining us in the playoffs. And he's shooting the puck a ton right now. Like his shot has obviously improved over the summer or last year that, we didn't see as much. Or he's just creating more space right now to get it off. And he's going to have to do that in the games as well. Obviously, this is practice. So that'll be the challenge for him. Because if he can, I think he's going to finish some plays and we could use that element.
Thanks, Butchie.
Thanks, Joe. Final question, Connor Ryan, go ahead.
Hey, Bruce. In what ways do players like Paolo and Grizzly complement each other's games as a pairing? And do you think that duo can maybe offer a little bit of a different dynamic from what Paolo and Krug brought over the last couple of years?
The Grizz would?
Yeah, the Grizz and Carlo compared
Yeah,
to.
well, I mean, it's similar, right? I mean, Grizz, if you're going to compare them to anybody in our team over the years, you know, it's probably Torrey Krug. So the element of what he brings for Brandon hasn't changed a ton in terms of, you know, it helps Brandon transition pucks. Brandon's a bigger body that, you know, has grown into more of a shutdown guy that can take care of the front of the net. He gets a little more physical every year, complements that type of player. So we don't think there should be much of a drop off there in terms of how the pair functions. Obviously, you know, Grizz has got a way to equal Torrey's numbers in the league, but he's going to get more of an opportunity this year to do that. So that was the thinking there. We know Grizz can play with Charlie. It's an easy switch. We know we can play with Kevin Miller. I mean, Kevin Miller did a great job with Grizz when Grizz first got into the league, sort of teaching him the nuances of the game and you know, being a big brother, that defensive presence for him. So we know we have that in our back pocket if we have to make a switch. But right now, for Brandon's sake, we like that pair. And it allows Losey to go with McAvoy for now, who we like as a shutdown guy, not a lot of experience, going to have his, you know, some challenges, but when he's been asked to do it in the past, out of necessity, he's done a good job for the most part. So that's our thinking there, knowing we can move people around. Zaboral and Moore, obviously wild cards where they fit in best on that left side. And we've talked about Clifton, you know, if he pushes himself in the lineup and it's 4 righties and 2 lefties, then we got to think about that. But those are all things that'll sort themselves out.